Miracle Boy Boxing. I'm your host and crew, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to talk to you guys about a very intriguing fight, in my book, in the heavyweight division, pitting F.A. Ajagba, 19 wins, 1 loss, 14 knockouts, versus Luis King Kong Ortiz. Yes, the one and only Luis King Kong Ortiz. 34 wins, 3 losses, 29 knockouts. It's a fight of heavyweight punchers. In this one, guys, it's going to take place on April 13th in Corpus Christi, in a card that's going to feature Jared Anderson, babyface, big baby. Let's talk about it, guys. Is F.A. Ajagba, we all know about him. The Nigerian puncher, scored that big knockout of the year over Brian Howard on ESPN. When he was a prospect, now he's a heavyweight contender. But now off that 1-2 and put Howard, he folded Howard, and Howard went face first. It was a brutal knockout, man. So it shows that F.A. Ajagba can put you out with one shot. He has brutal power. Very strong, good boxer puncher, and this will be the biggest test of his career. Now, Luis King Kong Ortiz, we all know about him. Fought Wilder twice. Came up short in both fights, in fights that he was winning until he got knocked out in both of them. Then he took on Charles Martin in a fight that definitely heavy turbulence in that fight, man, for Mr. Luis Ortiz. Got dropped twice, got dropped from a straight left from the southpaw Charles Martin, and even got dropped from a jab. You know, and during that, when I was watching the fight, I said, oh my God, Luis Ortiz is looking like himself. His age and stuff, man, this ain't looking too good. And, you know, and in the fight, Luis King Kong Ortiz catches Charles with a shot. I think it was a left-hand hook. A left hook. Catching Charles on the chin. And that changed the fight completely. Once that punch landed, after Luis Ortiz got dropped and was getting beat up, things weren't looking too good. Charles Martin was going to stop. It was looking like Charles Martin was going to stop Luis Ortiz and score the biggest win of his career, until Luis Ortiz landed a home run shot on Charles Martin's chin, and Charles Martin froze. Like, what's happening here? Where am I? Like, his world changed complete. He didn't know where he was at. He was wondering what is going on here. And Luis Ortiz jumped on him as he should, trying to finish the fight. Dropped Charles Martin through the ropes. Got tangled up on the ropes, having the referee to help him. And Charles, that was the end for Charles, man. Charles never really recovered from that. Yes, he continued to fight, but man, Ortiz worked the body, the head, everything, trying to go for the finish, and eventually he got the stoppage in that very same round after getting dropped twice and outgunned in that fight. You know, Luis was having issue pulling the trigger. You know, and he was looking every bit of his age, and he let go his left hand, and it was a left hook. It was not a straight left to the chin. It was a hook, looping left hand shot that froze Charles Martin and changed the fight completely. You know, awarding a pretty solid win for Luis Ortiz. One of his biggest wins since stopping Brian Jennings, who was you know, and during those times, Luis Ortiz was labeled as the boogeyman in the heavyweight division. No one wanted to fight him. A lot of heavyweights were ducking him. And some say that may not be true, but if you think about it, a heavyweight crafty Cuban heavyweight boxer puncher, who not only can box and punch, but very skilled, very good counter punching skills as well, man. Who's very crafty. Excellent timing, punching power, big, strong. So you're going to run. A lot of boxers are going to run from that, especially if you don't have any credibility with you. You're very high risk, low reward. And during those times, Luis Ortiz was very high risk, low reward. And the only man to really step up in fighting was Deontay Wilder. That's why I always give Wilder credit for those 2 fights because, especially the first fight, no one wanted to step in with Luis Ortiz, and Wilder did it. And look at that. Luis Ortiz showed us why he was ducked. He had Wilder all over the place in their first fight. He timed him well coming in and almost finished Wilder off. You know, so Luis was 38 then. He is 44 now. He's a lot older now. Heavyweights tend to age longer than smaller weight classes, some smaller weight class fighters. But you know, George Foreman can tell you all about that. He won the heavyweight championship at 45. The last thing to go for a boxer is their power, and especially for a heavyweight as well. The last thing to go is your punching power. If you got punching power, it's going to stay with you for a long time. Now, Luis Ortiz, coming off a knockout victory somewhere in Colombia. He went over to Colombia and had a tune-up fight, won by knockout against a real tune-up. You know, after the Andrew Ruiz loss. You know, even though he lost to Andrew Ruiz in 12 rounds, it was a pretty decent fight. Got dropped, and one eye swollen shut. But Luis Ortiz had his moments. Good exchanges with Andy. It was a good fight. Came back to Colombia. Came back and got that stoppage win in Colombia, and now he's back. So he's not all that rusty. He had a little fight there, but ain't much because it was a tune-up. He knocked that person out in one. He knocked that fighter out in 1 round, and now here he is. That fight happened in 2020, last year. The fight with Andy happened in 21. He had that tune-up in 23. So trying to get some ring rust. No, this is a real fight. This is a real fight. Since the Andy Ruiz fight, and at 44. I don't know what Luis Ortiz is trying to do here, but in my opinion, this is looking like the George Foreman move. Luis Ortiz is trying to do the George Foreman at 44, fighting guys in his prime, and trying to do the unthinkable, the impossible, like what George Foreman did back in the day. Can Luis Ortiz fight and climb his way back to the top at age 44? One man did it, George Foreman, winning the heavyweight title at 45, but that's big George Foreman, a legend. Now, with Luis Ortiz, this is my opinion, as this may sound stupid, but in my opinion, it's not going to sound stupid, because as legendary as George Foreman is, Luis Ortiz, and even though Luis Ortiz is far from a legend, or far from one of the greatest, or far from one of the best heavyweights to ever do it, he's as big as George Foreman. He's a big, strong heavyweight. He can punch, and he's a much skilled fighter than George Foreman. He is. Luis Ortiz definitely has a shot, in my opinion, even at age 44. I'm not going to count the man out. F.A. Ajagba is a dangerous fight for him, but let me tell you, Luis Ortiz is a dangerous fight also for F.A. Ajagba. Even though Luis Ortiz is not in his prime, he's 44, he's still dangerous. In my opinion, he's still dangerous. He's in shape. He is in shape. I follow him. He's in shape. Luis Ortiz had the chance with F.A. because he can box better than F.A. and he punches just as hard as F.A. And if Luis Ortiz is doing the George Foreman, he can be successful. You know why? Because he's as big as George, punches hard, and is a much better skilled fighter than George Foreman. He has a shot. Will the timing be there at 44? I want to believe so. But still, he has pretty good boxing skills. He has a good jab. He paws it out well to set up that left hand and, you know, set up the counters. The left hand, the left uppercut. He has a pretty good left uppercut. And I like Luis Ortiz's chances in this fight, man. Not saying he's gonna win. I just like the chances. If Ajagba could put him out one shot too, you know, he's shown Luis Ortiz have shown a shaky chin. Let's see, man. Let's see. This is a really good fight. I'm not counting out Luis Ortiz at all, man. Yeah, Luis Ortiz is hanging up. He's 44. He's gonna get hurt, but he has a chance in this fight, in my opinion. Ajagba, 19-1, 14 knockout versus Luis King Kong Ortiz, 34-3 with 29 knockouts. A heavyweight punching power extravaganza in this fight, and I'm looking forward to it. And this is the thing here: Efe is 29 years old, young man, young, big, strong man, and Luis Ortiz 44 years old. Sounds like danger for Ortiz, but I won't be surprised if Luis Ortiz wins this fight. He has what it takes. If George Foreman did it back in the day, Luis Ortiz, like I said, Luis Ortiz is far from George Foreman, from being anywhere near George Foreman level. But let me tell you something: he's a big heavyweight, just like George. Punching power, crafty, much better puncher. Boxer than George Foreman. George Foreman did it with less boxing skills. Why Luis Ortiz can't do it, or have any chance? That's my opinion. We're here to agree and disagree. So let me know what you guys think. Does Luis Ortiz, at 44 years old, with the skills and power that he has, have the chance to defeat Efe Ajagba and go on a second run, resurrect his heavyweight career? Or will Efe Ajagba put a stop to it and likely retire Luis Ortiz from his dreams of becoming the first Cuban heavyweight champion of the world? We'll find out on April 13th. It is scheduled for a card that's going to be taking place in Corpus Christi with Jared Anderson, likely the main event, on ESPN, because that's where Jared Anderson fights. So we'll see. Miracle Boy Boxing, I'm your host, and Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, guys. I was pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing right here. This is my passion right here. I just came off a flight from Puerto Rico. It is 10:11 in the night. I'm tired, but I'm here, and I'm talking boxing with you guys as always. It's always a pleasure. This is Miracle Boy Boxing. I'm your host, and Cruz. Efe Ajagba versus Luis King Kong Ortiz, guys. April 13, a heavyweight slugfest, heavyweight banger. Any of these two guys can go to sleep in one shot. Miracle Boy Boxing, host and Cruz once again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.